Two title fights in the desert. We're going to Abu Dhabi, UFC 321. We have what many would consider the most prestigious combat sports championship of all combat sports, the UFC Heavyweight Championship. Tom Aspinall set to make his first real title defense against former interim champion, former title challenger, Ciryl Gane. But then you also have the other side of things where some would argue we have maybe one of the most inconsequential championship fights in UFC tenure, right? The UFC Women's Strawweight Championship, Virna Jandiroba, Mackenzie Dern, a rematch that nobody particularly asked for, but hey, Wei Li moved up to take a super fight against Shevchenko, so we're here to break it down, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Bloody Water Podcast, breaking down with me, as always, the Santa Fe Bomber, the New Mexico native. Brother, like I said, kind of inconsequential. We're going to do some breakdown here of last week and whatnot, but of these two title fights right here, this heavyweight one, you can argue this brings us into the new mix, right? This is like a legit new generation heavyweight championship right here. Tell me, what does this mean for the other end of things, the strawweights right here? A winner would be awesome. We're going to get one, but what does it mean for the division?
Ooh, Derek, I actually think I know there's a lot of people saying the same sentiments you just gave right before, but I do think this drives a little bit of new life into the mix, man, into the flyweights. Now people are able to start making some moves where we might have another division where titles are changing hands left and right, but that means more money to be made by the fighters, more chances to be able to get that shine. I think it's a good mix-up. I agree, though. It's kind of weird that these two are fighting again, but either way, I'm happy to see a crown champion.
Yeah, I mean, flyweight, no problem. We got contenders. It's strawweight. This division right here is where we need to clean it up. We need to shake out some new contenders, some new fresh blood, but we'll talk about that in a bit. As you can see up on the screen here, folks, we do have a recap for UFC Vancouver. And AJ, this is one of those, again, sometimes it just works out this way. Didn't have the same picks, but we had the same score. I will preface, one of these fights got moved down to the prelims after we'd already broke it down, recorded. It was the Gibson-Arichi Lang fight. And AJ, you hit that one on the nose. Let's start there, man. Cody Gibson, path, wrestle, double leg, jab, double leg. He didn't even get a shot, man. He just got one shot at it and got up out of there, man. Impressive stuff by Arichi Lang, right?
Yeah, man. I was like we were saying on the show last week, Arichi Lang, he has got that death touch, and if you don't get him down to the ground, he is always dangerous. He looked good. I was telling you, folks, I hope you catch in on that one.
Yeah, bro, look at that. 21 seconds. That's all it took. So we'll just kind of go up the line right here. Drew Dober, real quick, AJ. This wasn't a main card one, but Drew Dober in this Kyle Prepolek fight. Dog, you're getting beat up for 2 straight rounds, right? You get a point deducted. You get all of these illegal fouls, and that just turns you up to say, all right, let me just get this dude up out of here, man. Maybe we need that. Let's start taking away these points a little bit more triumphantly. We'll talk about this in the Kevin Holland fight right here, but you take a point away immediately, it caused urgency, and it brought about a finish. You got to love the reffing job right there. What'd you make of it?
100%. I'm about it, Derek. That was absolutely the way to handle it, and the way to handle it for Drew Dober, because you can't rest on your laurels anymore. You need to be able to push that pressure, and look what it did for him. Got him a dub, got him a KO as well.
He needed the win too, right there. Look at that, minus 330 favorite, was down 2 rounds going into the third, ended up finishing. He was, I think, the biggest favorite on the card, so that ended up working out. All right, man, let's go down to it. First contentious pick we had, Kyle Nelson, Matt Frevola. I was on the Nelson side, you were on the Frevola side. AJ, I just think it's pretty simple, man. Frevola's fun. The steamroll is fun. But Kyle Nelson, man, he's the guy that keeps getting overlooked and keeps coming in at it was near even right here. Frevola actually was the dog right here, but he got the job done right here. Is this the end for the steamroller?
Yeah, Derek. I mean, this was, in my mind, this was a swing and a miss, both by me and Matt Frevola on this one. He's fun, he's exciting, but if you go in there and the other guys stay true to his game plan, you can be fun and exciting, but you're not getting the dubs. This is a rough one to see, man, and I do think it might be over. Yeah, that's fair. And Kyle Nelson going to keep making his rounds up. Need to start getting some finishes. He was robbed of one. Let's not just forget that, right? He pretty much had a finish in the end of the first round. Referee waved it off with like 3 seconds left and was like, actually, no, just kidding. You guys are still fighting. So adrenaline dump, all that, it all factors in. A couple of other quick ones, man. Listen, Air Jordan, fantastic victory over the gritty Davy Grant. But let's not forget, 39 years old is Davy Grant. So while this was very impressive, this is not the highest caliber of bantamweights that you could be fighting. I love the ideology, though. He says when your opponent swings wide and they loop, you take linear, you go straight. That's what we preach here all day, right? Come on. Maybe he's been listening. Charles Jourdain, check it out. You know what I mean? Bloody Water Podcast analysis.
AJ, Manon Fiorot has now re-solidified herself somehow as the number one contender in the women's flyweight division. Do you think it's fair, with her very impressive TKO win over Jazz Vidicius, for her to be the number one contender over Natalia Silva?
Derek, that's a hard question. I'm gonna say yes, because Manon Fiorot has done so much to let us know that she is number two. In my mind, she has solidified herself as the second greatest fighter in the division. We just need to be able to see that fight right there. Natalia Silva, if she could take it to Fiorot, man, we're talking something different. But right now, I don't see it that way.
Yeah, and Jazz Vidicius, like I said, man, rattled off 5 straight, right? She finally leapfrogged Tracy Cortez, stole that momentum. You got your opportunity, and they rewarded her with literally the toughest stylistic matchup. So, she'll be back. Simple question right here. I know my answer. We both picked for Sahabi, but was there a robbery alert? Did they have the Scully out in the bag open saying, hand it on over? Did that happen here, as Chito Vera alleges in Canada?
No, I don't think so, man. I don't think Chito did enough of anything, really. Like Zahabi had a great fight. He was technical. He was leading majority of the time. I don't think Chito did enough damage to really, really turn eyes in that one. Maybe give him a round, but I don't think he won the entire fight.
A tale as old as time. Chito Vera hurts you, then stares at you, doesn't finish you, and then complains about a robbery at the end of the fight. I love some Chito Vera, man. I love everything he's about. I love the ethos. I love the tenacity, but we need to see it translate into the cage. And then we're talking. But he did mention to himself, he's like, listen, man, I'm not in a rush. I'm only 32 years old, which is actually crazy because this dude has a million fights. 23-11, bro, at 32. Shout out. All right, man. Simple question right here. How many nut shots does it take to screw in a light bulb? No, I'm just kidding. Mike Malab, bro, two nut shots. Kevin Holland couldn't continue. How lucky did you get cashing an over 2.5 prop on a fight where Kevin Holland could have quit multiple times?
Ooh, man, lucky, Derek. I was stressed with the first one. Thought the fight was over with the second one. I was a little kind of in that juxtaposition where, the over was hit, and I was happy with that. But I mean, should the fight kept going? Like, was Kevin Holland could obviously not continue fighting anymore, the same caliber he was. He's not gonna say no, I can't fight. The doctors are like, hey man, it's up to you. I mean, it is what it is, but like I said, we cashed in, so I'm happy.
And to be fair, brother, both of us combined 2+ money best bets that we cashed in on, right? I had mine was plus 105, yours was like plus 140 right there. So shout out, mine was this hobby by decision. To conclude this recap of UFC Vancouver, man, Brendan Allen. I mean, we could say whatever we wanted to, because I was over here opening it up like diamond in the rough, RDR, he's done it. He's finally coming up, doing the thing. How did we not see this guy? And then he quit on the stool in round 4 going to round 5. Listen, hey, it is what it is. They're attributing it to he had 5 fights in a span of a year, a bunch of weight cuts. He cuts a ton of weight. None of that should matter when you sign a contract to fight this dude to say, I'm ready for the title, and you're shit talking everybody else. So in my book right now, Brendan Allen, he's the real dog right here. RDR, good front runner, good hammer, clearly not a fantastic nail. He did have a similar kind of hiccup, if you will, in one championship as well when he lost his championship belt. So maybe we should have saw this one coming, but just what's your stake on this one? And then we'll keep it pushing.
Man, I gotta say, if you're looking down on RDR for quitting, it's only because you've never been in the ring and it felt kind of that kind of pressure. We've all done it, we've all quit. But I agree with Derek. You sign a contract, you put your name on there, you are a professional. That should not be a thing anymore, man. You continue to fight, you keep it going. Yeah, I mean, this is Brendan Allen proved who he is, proved he's a dog, and went out there and did what nobody else could do. Made RDR not only look human, look feeble in the grappling, but really took it to him and made him quit, man. That's impressive work by Brendan Allen right there,
brother. And to kind of double down on that one, I got jiu-jitsu competition experience, right? I don't got MMA fights or anything like that, and I can tell you in jiu-jitsu competitions, being in certain positions where it literally runs through your mind where you're like, I'm tired, dude, like I don't want to move to the next spot. I'm ready to give up. You know what I mean? So imagine getting punched in the face, getting kicked in the body, getting kneed and all that stuff on top of it. Yeah, not fun. So respect to the athletes first and foremost, right? Like you're a dog for even going out there and competing. But when you're talking about I'm the best in the world and all these other dudes are, whoop-de-whoop, this is the full circle moment right there. So shout out to Brendan Allen. We'll see what the future holds for this middleweight division. But AJ, enough of UFC Vancouver. We're talking about UFC 321. And we know in order to start this, the best thing that we got to do is not talk about the main event, not talk about the main card, but hit you guys with the sleeper. Not on the paid section of the program, which I think this card is on FX, so maybe you get it for free if you got cable or whatever the case may be. But on the prelims, we got a banger. AJ, you got a fun one, brother. Go ahead and talk to him. What do you got?
It's time for some fight night.
If you ain't paying attention, you're gonna sleep on me and I'm gonna wake you up.
We're going Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Delgado in the 145-pound class, folks. If you don't know who Nathaniel Wood is and you're listening to this right here, your algorithm's messed up, but welcome. You know, we love you. We're happy to have you. Make sure you tune in so you can win some money. And I'm just joking, right? But really, though, Nathaniel Wood, he might have to change his name from the prospect to the prospect killer because that's who they're lining this man up with. Nathaniel Wood, well-rounded, technical, willing to take the fight really anywhere it needs to go, especially the deep waters. This man ain't afraid to hunt a finish. Hasn't had one in a while, but he's always looking, right? And the real sleeper of this one is Jose Delgado, young man coming up, explosive, riding a 7-fight winning streak right here. Very tall, has serious power in his strikes, and a 75% takedown accuracy with 100% finish rate in his wins. This boy is serious right here, folks. Here's what you need to know, all right? This is very much a prospect versus a gatekeeper fight, and time, really, for both of these men to prove where they belong in the UFC. Combined 23 finishes between them. Expected technical mix-em-up kind of fight. Delgado really needs to prove he is ready for the next level of fighters. And if he's not, Wood is the best opponent to expose him like we've seen Wood do to other ones in the past. Make sure you tune into this one, folks. It's going to be a banger.
Bro, this is not only a step up in competition for Delgado, but this is also a risky fight for Nathaniel Wood, man. I mean, look, you're an underdog right here against a dude who cracks. Nathaniel Wood can crack. You're right. Hasn't seen the finishes as of late, but the dude can crack as well. All I know is it doesn't matter if you got a side on this one or not. This is going to be a fun fight right there, folks. So absolutely tune in.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
We're going to break down the main card. We're going to do it from the bottom of the docket all the way up to the main event. So stick around for that one. We got you covered after that with some best bets. And then we got a good story of the week to break down here for you. But AJ, we're going to start off with none other than Alexander Rakic versus Azamat Murzakanov, which is actually not a name that you've necessarily heard like as of late necessarily, but the dude is 15-0, man, undefeated in this light heavyweight division. And in this rigmarole, this hot potato, if you will, that the light heavyweight championship is doing right now, some say that this man has himself a real opportunity. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on the prospect of Murzakanov. So go ahead and lead off right there. What are the prospects right there?
Man, Murzakanov is dangerous, brother. He's nicknamed the professional because that is really true to his state, man. This guy is technical. He might come off as a slow, sluggish fighter, but this guy's setting up moves. He has head movement. He's working jabs, going in, hitting you with long kicks. Very underrated, like just on the look, right? Just on how he's perceived. But man, he lets that left hand fly, and he is very, very technical. Do not sleep on this kid. I should say this, man. He's 36 years old, two years older than me. He likes to play the range game, find that timing, and exploit the mistakes with explosive power. That is Murzakanov's game, and he is damn good at it.
Yeah, no, I mean that's pretty well said right there, right? He's going to walk you down, super good hand speed. He's got crack in it. And like you said, when he lets that left hand fly from that southpaw stance, it's hurting these dudes, right? But he's going to have to pressure you, back you up against the cage, and deal with the consequences of a rangy fighter like Alexander Rakic. So real quick, just for the sake of the argument right here, let's not forget, yeah, you got the prospect, but you got an Alexander Rakic who is riding a 3-fight losing streak right here. But one thing you cannot say is that he hasn't fought some good dudes right here, right? Even if maybe time has passed and it doesn't look as good anymore. Jimmy Manuwa, Volkan Ozdemir, Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos, Blachowicz, Prochazka, Ankalaev, right? And in the Ankalaev fight and in the Yuri Prochazka fight, there were real paths, bro. There were real paths. So the paths that I'm talking about are his ability, even though he's kind of a low volume, out at range, stick behind, he can beat up the legs of Murzakanov, which will take away all of that sting from that boxing. And that's really the main threat that I see here from Murzakanov. I'm not going to lie. I kind of see this as a coin flip to a degree, even though the odds are right now, what do you know, AJ? Look at the odds. Minus 105 for Rakic, minus 115 for Murzakanov. And if we go to DraftKings, it's just about even money right here. So they're seeing it as a coin toss as well. What needs to happen in order for this to go to a coin toss to after round one, we're saying, damn, how did I not see this coming?
I mean, either one of the fighters really implemented their game plan. Because I agree with you, Derek. If Alexander Rakic is able to stay at range, hit those counters, dip off, hit him again, and really do some serious damage, where Murzakanov isn't able to get in range and hurt Rakic all day long, we're thinking Rakic got this one, easy running. But on the opposite end, man, if Murzakanov is able to get in the inside, just give a couple quick checks to those leg kicks that are going to be coming in, work the body, work the head, really get to work how he knows how to do it. Same kind of thing. Because I'm with you. In fact, this was the one fight where I was sitting there back and forth thinking, which way do I really want to go? Which way do I see a clear path? There's not really a clear path. It's going to be the man who dominates that fight that night. And I mean, it really does go down to that coin flip kind of toss.
One thing that I want to point out, though, right, is there's a pretty massive size and reach disparity. Disparity, that's the right word, I think. Yeah, there's a pretty large gap right there. Rakic is way bigger and he's way longer right here. And listen, man, you look at this dude. I can't even pull nothing up right now. Actually, maybe let me see if I pull it up on the UFC page. They'll give you a nice little glimpse right here. But when we pull up Rakic, probably not even a new picture. I mean, my man is built like a brick house right here, brother. You know what I mean? He's defined. He's brick house built up. And then you got Murzakanov, who's like the dad coming off the couch, who's just going to go put a whooping on you. Because don't forget, you know, I get down too. All jokes aside right here, I think that there is something to say about that range, the range management that they're going to have to play right here, and just pure size disparity. I think Rakic has a real life shot right here, but he has to stick and move for 15 minutes. And we need to see. There's one factor here, AJ, that I'm not going to be shy to not bring up right here, man. We're in Abu Dhabi, dog. So you're getting a handicap. Like all the Muslim fighters, all the dudes who are in that category or in that region, you're automatically getting a boost. I don't care what anybody says. This is Abu Dhabi. So we'll see what happens. Let's talk about the actual how it actually gets done right here, though, man. When I pull up the markets on Murzakanov and Rakic, as you can see, it's pretty much even money right here. Over 2.5 minus 120. Under 2.5 is at even money right here. Do you like anything here?
Yeah, Derek. I mean, I like I was gonna say I like the over, or excuse me, I was gonna say I like the under, because Murzakanov, I do think if his path to victory is going forward, working the pressure and trying to get that finish, I think he can possibly get a finish here. But then he made a point. We're in Abu Dhabi, right? This is something where it's hot, right? Things are going differently. He will have the judges on his side.
Yeah,
I kind of like the over, man. I kind of like the over at 2.5 right here. I mean, I know it's even, or no, that one is minus 120. So you're not getting the best odds, but I do like this one right here. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good right there for the totals. Like I said, I think that Rakic is going to be able to blunt some of that explosiveness of Murzakanov by beating up the legs. Just the accumulation. All it takes is 3 or 4 of Rakic's kicks to be able to beat you up. He did it to Magomed Ankalaev, and he did it to Yuri Prochazka. So I don't see why he couldn't do it here. And let's not forget the bursts that Murzakanov has, those 1-2 bursts coming in, because he has a good step in knees and all that stuff. Dangerous, but sporadic. So I'm not sure we're going to see too much clashing. I think Rakic is going to stay on the bike, and win or lose, I think that this is probably a really good line to take. 2.5 minus 120 right here. Better than taking the coin toss here. But for the sake of what it is that we're doing here, AJ, first contentious pick of the night, Alexander Rakic. You got Murzakanov, which I'm not going to lie, I was a little surprised to see Murzakanov come across. So you got anything else on this one, or were you just feeling frisky?
No, Derek, like I said, I was going back and forth. I was in between both of them because I could see paths to win. And just to pull the covers back a little bit, Derek submitted his picks first. I saw he went with Rakic, and I said, all right, bet. We're going Murzakanov. This one's a bet here. Fair.
All right. So this one right here, folks, like I said, not a ton of value right here, but from a picks perspective, I think that this is a fun one to play around with. Totals over 2.5 at minus 120 is where you want to play it right here. Interesting matchup right here, because you don't have these very often in today's MMA landscape, right? A true striker grappler matchup. You can't say it any other way. Like, this is one of the few that you truly have. And Alexander Volkov is looking to avenge that loss that he had against Ciryl Gane and pick up that momentum against Jailton Almeida. Now, Dana White did say, AJ, he was like, hey, after that fight, he was like, bro, we got something for you. You know what I mean? And they're like, all right, so you give him Jailton Almeida. That's his consolation for getting robbed against Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane gets to fight for a title, and you get to fight Jailton Almeida. But I actually think that this is a very winnable fight. But I've gone back and forth on this one. So let's talk about it, brother. First, what do you like out of Jelton Almeida in a interesting matchup right here because he's an undersized heavyweight, and Volkov increasingly getting better with the takedown defense, getting more dangerous on the feet, and even incorporating grappling of his own. So what do you like about what Almeida can do here?
You know what I like most about Almeida in specifically this fight? He has a really good tendency of getting on the inside because he's trying to grapple, right? Because he's trying to get his hands on you. He is trying hard to get on that inside. And when you have Alexander Volkov trying to avoid that, trying to reach up, he tends to leave his chin a little bit high, and that smaller guy can shoot up, and it's all just the perfect attack for him. So I think those big hooks to the inside, crash in, do some damage, let him know you're going to be taking the shot, because that's going to be the one thing that keeps Alexander Volkov on his heels. But if he can get on the inside and really start to land some power, I know at least in the past the power and the striking of Almeida has been a means to the grappling end. But really, if he could do that to actually do some damage and then let his game plan evolve from there, I think that's a really good path for Almeida on this fight.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, one thing that I think we really need to consider in this one is that people have had the ability to take down Volkov at will to a degree, right? He's got good takedown defense, but they're still able to get him to the mat. They're able to really mess with his style if they have something to offer on the feet. Now, every time I watch Almeida, he makes no secret of it. He's like, I'm not even going to try to punch you. I'm going to just get in front of you, shoot a blast double. And it works most times. But when you watch the fight against Curtis Blades, you're like, all right, I see literally two for Volkov, two paths right here that will make me look like the dumbest person in the world for picking Almeida. One, the heavyweight special. You get in on a single or on a double leg and you just drop elbows into the side of their head like Curtis Blades did, right? I'm like, all right, that's totally in the realm of possibility, especially how big Volkov is. Just sticking up against the cage, right? Easy. Number two, you stuff the takedown. And you have no choice. You have to box with this dude. Who wants to box with Alexander Volkov, dog? His striking has been looking impeccable as of late. Like, no joke. It's been looking really, really good. So it scares me a little bit, especially knowing here when I pull up on the screen, Jelton Almeida, almost a minus 200 favorite against Alexander Volkov right here. So I'm just trying to understand, aside from, yes, if he puts a backpack on you, real possibility of submitting you quickly or getting that TKO finish where he's, just beating you up, clubbing you on the side of the head, real possibility. But this is a 15-minute fight in a big cage in Abu Dhabi. And I'm not saying that has anything to do with Alexander Volkov because he's a Russian and Almeida's a Brazilian, right? But I just think that we need to take this into consideration right here. Am I missing something? Because up until I submitted my picks, AJ, I was actually all Volkov right here, but I said there's something I have to be missing here. So what do you think?
Yeah, Derek. I mean, when you're going through all that, the one thing I think is going to make a big difference right here is those exchanges in the pocket, right? Those middle ground. If Volkov is able to defend the takedowns, or let's say when Almeida shoots in, Volkov is able to fend him off a little bit, get in that clinch, and really start working some knees. Volkov does have a lot of paths to win right here, but he has to put himself in danger to be able to get to those, right? Or just completely avoid danger entirely and just play the range game in a technical fight, which he can win that as well. But I don't think with how Volkov has been fighting lately, he's going to play that smart game of just ticky-tack, stay at the range, just avoid. Jelton Almeida is very fast and powerful, and I do think he's going to get the takedown or at least get on the inside, and that's where the fight's going to be won. Okay,
that's fair. I don't really have anything else on this one. Like I said, it's very straightforward striker grappler matchup. Who can implement their game right here? If it's on the feet, all Volkov. If Almeida puts that backpack on, it can end quick, but there's a lot of places that you can go here. So number one, fight to go the distance, plus 300. They don't like it. They think there's going to be a finish here. And let me just go ahead and pull up the methodology. Knockout win against Spivak, submission against Romanov, 5-round decision against Derek Lewis, submission against Rosenstruik. So, okay, let's just take Derek Lewis as that example right here. You couldn't finish Derek Lewis. You laid on him for 5 rounds. You got a dub. Volkov, when last time he's been submitted, has he ever been submitted? 3 submission losses. Tom Aspinall, that's right, the key lock. Okay, so that's something to take into consideration real quick, AJ. You remember that fight, right? The Volkov Aspinall fight. Mm-hmm. Aspinall, how was he able to get the takedowns? Because he was tagging him up on the feet, shot the double. But as soon as he got on top in that top control and just went for a straight key lock, there's a straight, literally a straight arm bar from that half guard position, it was over for Volkov. It was a wrap. So that really concerns me because Almeida's really good top player when it comes down to his grappling. in his guard, a little less active. He has some good sweeps, but you don't see a ton of submissions being thrown up. He's really at his best when he could maintain top control, either in a half guard or a mount scenario right here. So submission. I said all of that simply to say Jailton Almeida by submission is where we at? Plus 140. That's not steep at all. You like it?
That's not steep at all. I like it. I like that, Derick. I mean, it's his best path to victory. It's his only path to victory. Plus 143 is better than his decision line. That's for sure.
Or Volkov by TKO plus 300, which I think is like absolutely in the realm of possibility. So even if you're an Almeida better, right, or an Almeida picker, whatever you want to call it, and you're looking for a little hedge, what do you see as being the best hedge here?
I'm still going with the Almeida by sub hedge or like pick in general, bet in general.
Yeah.
If you're a Volkov better though, I mean that plus 300 isn't bad. I'd feel a little bit better about it. Maybe if it wasn't Jailton Almeida, but I mean, what do you think, Derick?
Yeah, my thoughts are I'm passing on this one. I don't have a bet here. My pick, the consensus pick, I should say, is going to be Jailton Almeida. I think that's going to be the rightful victor, but I think this is dog or pass 100%. So if you're looking at pure money line right here, where to go? There we go. Volkov plus 158. I think dog or pass. As simple as that. But Jailton Almeida is going to be the pick. Umar Nurmagomedov against Mario Bautista. And though, AJ, I have to pull it up just because it's kind of ridiculous when you take a look at both of these guys' resumes, how they fight, and you look at the odds right here. Minus 625 open up for Umar Nurmagomedov, plus 455 comeback on Mario Bautista. So you almost automatically want to say, hey, let me at least throw a little flyer on Mario Bautista because I absolutely think he has the tools to beat Umar Nurmagomedov. I just don't think it's in the way that most people envision it. Umar said something interesting before we jump into this. He said that Mario Bautista and me have pretty similar, if not equal level striking. First, I want your opinion on that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Pretty equal level. I mean, I don't know about equal level, but pretty similar. Yeah, but I would say Umar Nurmagomedov is maybe a little faster and a little bit more crisp in his striking, a little kind of not erratic, but he's willing to throw some flashier stuff out there. Where Mario Bautista, man, better boxing, not as much of a kicker, but he mixes them in. So I'd say on uneven ground, I could see them being close to equal.
Okay. I was really looking at it from the perspective of like apples to oranges, right? Mario Bautista is a volume guy, in your face, constantly walking you down, straight shots, throwing a hook right here, calf kick, circle out, walk you down, pressure you. Umar on that back foot, super I don't remember. There's an athletic term that you use, but you know what I mean, where it's those bursts, those sprints, right? Where you hit him with the switch kick real quick, hit him with the kick up top, calf kick, circle out, move. Apples to oranges, not really the same. I think Mario Bautista, stylistically in this matchup, is actually a better striker than Umar Nurmagomedov, but it's in the way that he does it. Because he said it. He was like, well, Merab kind of showed us the blueprint to beating Umar. Now, how many Merabs do we have out there? We have one right there. So I don't think Mario Bautista can take that same approach. Even if you watch the Jose Aldo fight, people make it seem like he literally just rushed at him, grabbed him, and held him against the side of the cage. Like, that's not exactly how the fight played out, right? There was a lot of striking exchanges that set up, pushing, pressuring, and then finding the clinch right here. So I think he's going to do a lot of volume. I think the path is volume, break Umar down, keep him on the back foot, and don't let him wrestle you, because that's the thing, man. Umar has fantastic grappling, and I think that he could stall this one out. It's going to be hard to win a decision against Umar, in my opinion, in Abu Dhabi right here. But what do you think about that? Cage exchanges, they get to the clinch right here. Umar's probably sending this man flying. Hip tosses, some judo stuff right here. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about what you were saying, Derick, in the striking, because one thing with Umar, he will be throwing those kicks off the back foot, and the best way to beat that is with a blitz right down the middle. So Bautista definitely has a path and a couple different paths to be able to get it going. And don't get me wrong, folks, I know Umar is the better wrestler here and the better grappler in general, but Mario Bautista's no slouch, man. He can hold his own. I don't think he's going to in this one. I mean, Umar, is on paper, has all the ticks going for him, but I do think Mario Bautista has a different way to be able to at least prove some eyes in there. If you outstrike him, you outwork him, and then you out-hustle Umar Nurmagomedov, Mario Bautista can get the win right here.
It's only 3 rounds, though, man. That's the hard part. Merab, if that was a 3-round fight that he fought against Umar, he lost that fight. right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, all right, Umar, it's like we can't just look at him and be like, oh, he's just going to get tired automatically. You can't just assume that. You have to do something to make him tired. You have to make him do a bunch of grappling exchanges, defenses, and all that good stuff. So we'll see. Cardio has always been a little bit of an issue with Umar, but I just don't think that he's bettable at minus 625. I think it's as simple as that. Not bettable there. I think Mario Bautista is absolutely bettable at plus 400, whatever the case may be. But really what I'm interested in more than anything else is going to be totals on this one, AJ. So let me just go ahead and pull up a total here. So I'm currently tracking minus 250 at over 2.5, and I'm happy there. I'll take that all day. What do you think?
I take that all day. Yeah, I do think this one's going to a decision. So 2.5, it's even better. Minus 250, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, easy. The implied win percentage on an over is like 72% right here, man. So I think stylistically, the way that they fight, it's going to be hard to find a finish. Consensus pick, it's easy. It's Umar Nurmagomedov. I don't think Mario Bautista, I just don't think in a 3-round fight he has the tools necessary to get a win in Abu Dhabi. You know what I mean? Big prefaces on all of that good stuff. But maybe we could be surprised if it was 5 rounds. It would be a much different fight. Again, Umar unbettable at plus 600 or minus 600, whatever the case may be. And my last question before we get out of here, why is he being priced so high? He's being priced like an undefeated dude who has never lost before, literally coming off of a loss. Like, what are we doing?
Abu Dhabi, Nurmagomedov last name, brother. I mean, need we say any more?
Nah, fair. That's it. I'm convinced. This is one of the more inconsequential championship fights. It's a matchup that nobody particularly asked for. It's a rematch that nobody is dying to see. But it is an interesting evolution of characters. You know, Vina Jandiroba is a much different fighter than she was in 2020 when she lost to Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern literally looks like a different human being than she did in 2020. Way more muscular, a different sense of purpose, I believe. And also, I think she has learned a little bit more how to be aggressive out of the guard and aggressive in top control rather than just submission hunting always, right? Because you can go for those TKO wins. You can ground and pound. You don't have to submit it. You're not just a jiu-jitsu person. But Vina Jandiroba is another one of those interesting case studies right here. Let me pull up the line first. So Vina Jandiroba right here is currently tracking currently tracking as a plus 134 dog, minus 160 favorite is Mackenzie Dern right here. My first question is, how fair do you think that line is?
It's pretty fair, Derek. I think Mackenzie Dern has done a lot, not only in the recent memory, but pretty much her career as far as, you know, where she deserves to stand amongst the rest of the division.
Okay. And I think it's a fair line right here, but I think it's interesting that the popular decision, so I'm not talking about numbers and odds and bookies and sports betting. I'm talking about just like the fan critique. Go on Tapology and look at like the Tapology pick. It's Vina Jandiroba, but like by a mile, dog. Like everybody is on Vina. And I'm like, all right, I'd like to know why necessarily, right? Because Mackenzie Dern, I think, obviously, she's more of a guard player, right? She's less top control wrestling. Her wrestling is not fantastic. Vina Jandiroba has fantastic control, has good wrestling, but she just knows how to stall things out, right? But on the feet, I think Mackenzie Dern still has a major advantage on the feet, like a mile on the feet right there. But given that both of these people aren't worried about grappling necessarily, how close do you think is it going to be a replay of 2020? Because there's a lot of stand-up exchanges there. Mackenzie Dern got her nose broke, suffered some adversity and all that stuff. I don't think that we're going to see 15 minutes of a kickboxing matchup right here, but I definitely think that we're going to see some extended moments where Mackenzie Dern can be the more pressure fighter. I think Vina's still a little hesitant, winging those hooks, a lot slower, and has a lot less power on the feet.
Yeah, especially I think the longer this fight goes, Derek, the more we're going to see stand up out of these two females. I do think we're going to see some exchanges, some grappling exchanges in the front, and especially if Vina, if she is able to dominate Mackenzie on the ground, then you know all bets are off, and that's really where if she's able to stall her out. There's a lot of confidence that goes into the Vina Jandiroba corner right there, but I feel as though this fight keeps on going and keeps evolving. We're going to see the work that Mackenzie Dern has been putting in over the last 5 years, and really how much has she evolved her game? And that was a question I had when I was going into this one. Like regardless if this is an inconsequential fight, I think even Dean Thomas was talking about it. Nobody's looking at this one, but if you really have to dive into it, who has gotten better better over the last 5 years. Mackenzie Dern is really making evolvements to her entire game, not just doubling down on her specialties. And that's why I think she has a better shot to win this one.
Okay. And I mean, yeah, like I like the analysis right there. So let's talk about like how this thing actually plays out. So first off, when I pull up the sheet on both of these guys right here, I mean, it's similar across the board, right? Vina has 1 million submission victories. Dern, a bunch of submission victories. Both have the same amount of decision wins right here. And if you look at recent form, Jandiroba, she's surging, right? But who are these wins over? Angela Hill, Marina Rodriguez, Lupi, Lemos, Xiaonan. How many of those people have fantastic ground games? I mean, Lupi, maybe a little bit. But she's a wrestler though. She's not really like a jiu-jitsu person, so she's more top control. So, okay. And then you got for Dern, it's similar training, right? Angela Hill, Andrade, Lemos, Lupi, and Amanda Ribas right there. The thing that was really interesting is if you look at the last fight between these two, obviously Xiaonan, man, you take her to the ground. That's the bread and butter. You're gonna get her out of there. It's pretty simple. But Amanda Ribas, the way Mackenzie Dern sat in the guard makes me a little hesitant in seeing that Vina has a real opportunity right here. Dern's a finisher. Jandiroba, even though she is a finisher as well, is really good at just maintaining that top control. How many rounds can Mackenzie Dern, how much time during the rounds can Mackenzie Dern spend just hanging out in guard trying to find a finish? If she can't get it, you're just racking up lost round after lost round right here. Recipe for disaster, right?
Absolute recipe for disaster, Derek. I don't think if I'm a Mackenzie Dern, if you're on the bottom, you're not playing at all. You need to flip that, switch it over, just end the situation as quick as possible. So that way you can keep pressure and keep positioning. Other than that, I mean, like I said before, if Vina Jandiroba is able to stall this fight out on the ground, all bets are off, man. This is an interesting one.
So folks, what you need to take into consideration here for the dog, Vina Jandiroba, she's a minute winner. Dern is a moment's winner right there. So she needs to drop her on the feet. She needs to lock up an arm bar. Vina Jandiroba has been submitted all of 0 times. Guess what? Mackenzie Dern has been submitted all of 0 times. Both of these people are high-level jiu-jitsu practitioners right here, so I do not see a submission on the table right here. I think this is going to go all 5 rounds, and it's just a matter of who can lock up the bigger moments to sway the judges. And again, the Amanda Ribas fight did concern me for Mackenzie Dern, but given that Amanda Ribas is a black belt in jiu-jitsu and in judo, if I'm not mistaken, and she still arm-barred her with like relative ease, I mean, you can't doubt Mackenzie Dern right here. Would you say of both fighters, who is coming into their own more? I know you just kind of hit on it earlier, but who's coming more into their own right now?
Mackenzie Dern. She's really not she's not on the surge on the wins that we're seeing Vina Jandiroba as, but her process as a fighter is definitely much more evolved.
That's it. So the consensus pick right here. And new Mackenzie Dern right here will be really interesting to see what this division shakes up at for both fighters, who, regardless of who wins. Interesting to see the impact, the ripple effect that it'll have on the division. But I think Mackenzie Dern is the play right here. Minus 160. Is that bettable for you, or are you just calling it a pick and keeping it pushing?
Actually, Derek, I'm calling on the money line. I call it a pick, man, but I think the over-unders right here is where I'm looking to actually make some money. I'm looking 4.5, and it's minus 120. So it's a better line than you're getting on Mackenzie Dern. Yep. I like that. I think this one's even going to a finish. Do you have the numbers on that?
Well, I guess let's hold out on that because I got a best bet for you guys in regards to this one. So we'll hold off on that one. For now, Mackenzie Dern and new for your new champion right there. Most prestigious title in combat sports, the UFC Heavyweight Championship. And a lot of people think that this isn't going to be close. They think Tom Aspinall is going to come in here. He's going to steamroll Ciryl Gane and get him up out of there. But Gane says, hey, listen, I could slow roll this thing and I could drag this man into deep water because I've been there. How does Aspinall rebuke, if you will? He says, yeah, everyone says they're going to drag me into deep waters and I knock him out in a minute. What are we going to do? And I think that's the real talk right here, man. All right, somebody's got to start fast, and I think it would be in Ciryl Gane's best interest to start fast and not take the slow roll approach because Ciryl Gane still has a glaring hole in his game, and that's going to be the grappling right here. My question to you is, does Tom Aspinall come out there and kickbox, or does he go out there, shoot a blast double, and just get this man out of here John Jones style?
I think it's the latter, Derek. I think he puts a 1-2 combo together, gets to those hips, and proves to Ciryl Gane that there are levels to this game. You said it before, Ciryl Gane is his best bet right here is to be able to just go forward with aggression, go forward with pressure. Gane hasn't done that in any one of his single fights. The man likes to sit back, make reads, play the counters, and he's great at it. He's amazing at those kind of fights. But I see Tom Aspinall step one, right? Foot pressure one, just going forward and never looking back. All go. I see this one as might be a steamroll, Derek.
Yeah, man. My thought on this one is that Ciryl Gane's style has worked best for the older generation of heavyweights. When he came in, he was the new thing we had never seen before, which was awesome when you're fighting Derek Lewis, when you're fighting Marcin Tybura, you know what I mean? Tai Tuivasa, stuff like that, right? Like, that's awesome. Actually, let's just take a look at the hit list. Volkov, I rewatched this one again. Yes, Volkov won that fight. Spivak, all right, right on. Tai Tuivasa, Ngannou, Derek Lewis, which is interesting, right? You win an interim belt against Derek Lewis, you lose it against Ngannou, which was a very winnable fight for him, actually. You just made a kind of silly mistake going for a heel hook or whatever, right? But you don't have anybody here who matches up skill for skill with a guy that's like Tom Aspinall. So Ciryl Gane, I don't think is faster. I do think he has better footwork and just overall like athleticism and movement. But Tom Aspinall is going to come down. He's going to be running down the 1-2. He's got a good little check hook on him right there. And I think that's literally it. It's going to be that. It's going to get him so focused on that, he might shoot a opportunistic double, come up, and just rinse, wash, and repeat. What tools does Ciryl Gane have to be able to actually earn respect? Because I think that's what he needs. If this fight's going to go past a round, if this fight's going to go past 2 rounds, I think he needs to earn some respect, and he needs to do it fast. What tools does he have in his arsenal that can earn respect against Aspinall?
The counter and the footwork, Derek. If we watched a couple of Tom Aspinall's last fights, he's winning, he's knocking people out left and right, but he's getting tagged in those fights. There's a couple moments where you can see he gets hurt, even in the last one, in the Curtis Blades fight. No, it wasn't that. So it was the Pavlovich fight. I think he might have gotten hurt in both, actually, thinking about it. But yeah, he gets chinned there. And don't get me wrong, credit to Tom Aspinall. He's a dog. He's staying in the fight. He's getting the wins. But he does get hit. And if Ciryl Gane is able to stay at that range, see it coming, counter, and get out of there, and then just rinse, wash, repeat that, there's a way for Ciryl Gane to actually win this fight. I just don't see the pressure of Aspinall being let off enough to give Ciryl Gane those moments to make that, because he's not really risk adverse. Ciryl Gane, he's not risk adverse. He's not putting himself in danger to get to those spots. He's looking to make the technical fight. He wants to win a point fight right here, and that's what you can't do against Tom Aspinall.
And when he is willing to put himself at risk, it's against these bigger, slower dudes who he has the ability to style on. Because how do you normally see a Ciryl Gane finish? It's like a snowball, right? He just starts putting it on you, increases volume, increases power as the rounds go on. Next thing you know, it's the 3rd round. Your back is up against the cage, and he's just dropping them on you. Bah, 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 big combinations, all that, right? Awesome. But we just haven't – it's too many questions. It's too many unknowns right here. I think the speed and the power – of Tom Aspinall is going to be too much, but I really think the get out of jail free card is, I get in danger, I can double leg you. What can you do to stop it? What can you do to stop it, bro? To a 44% takedown defense right here, and he hasn't even fought a real wrestler. You haven't fought Curtis Blades. Sergey Spivak, all right, right on, but Spivak has not shown to be that guy, if that makes sense. I had really high hopes for him, dude. You know what I mean? But doesn't have much. He has good boxing, but he's a big, slow heavyweight. He is not I guess all I could say right here is that aside from the Dawkins bros, Chris Dawkins, right? We did not have a guy that fit this mold. Tom Aspinall is the one who ended up sticking around. So I think that this one's pretty clear cut right here. The question is, how do you make money? Because Aspinall, rightfully so, is a pretty big favorite right here, man. And Ciryl Gane, even at plus 280, it's not juicy enough for me to say I got to take a bet on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's not juicy enough. We're talking that 300, 350 range. Then I'm willing to at least throw some couple credits on it. But there's an interesting one, Derek. I'm wondering what you're thinking right here with the total rounds over under. I'm tracking 1.5 at I mean, they're pretty damn close. What are you tracking right here?
Yeah, 1.5 minus 110 a pop, even money right here. So that's the thing, man. It's, do you give Ciryl Gane the respect to say, all right, well, you're not a big plotting heavyweight, so you do have the ability to actually stick and move and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Do you give him that credit and let it go? Does Tom Aspinall intentionally say, you know what, championship fight right here, maybe I slow roll it. Maybe he thinks I'm going to come out blazing, but I'm going to go and be methodical. I think that there is money to be made on the over for sure, but the reason why is really mainly because Ciryl Gane, you know it. He's not the guy that's going to put himself in the pocket and say, let's throw down. He's not a Pavlovich who he's like first one to land wins. He's like, yo, let me get him out of here. Cat kick and move, cat kick and move. So it's like, if Tom Aspinall doesn't come out, shoot a double in the beginning and just try to take him out, I think that this one definitely can hit over 1.5 for sure.
I like that too, Derek, because especially the fight to not go the distance is minus 800. So everybody knows this one's not going to a finish. But I like the mentality where you're thinking at the over. I like that one as well.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, no need to overthink it, man. Tom Aspinall, that's going to be the pick. And still right here, again, this is a fight that a lot of people were kind of just wondering, why does Ciryl Gane get this opportunity? What has he done to prove that he's the next in line? And I think the heavyweight division is just really weak right now, and they don't have anybody stylistically that would be a fun fight necessarily. So we'll see if Jailton Almeida can parlay this into a big win, and maybe he's next against Aspinall, because that would actually be an interesting fight. Again, you got to not get chinned by Volkov, and if you fought Aspinall, not get chinned there again. But I would say another one is a pass for Tom Aspinall. You're not going to bet him at that number of 355. Over 1.5, like AJ was saying, I think that's more than a fair bet right there. But the consensus pick is absolutely in for Tom Aspinall. So let's go ahead and let's break down the best bet. So we gave you the plays, we gave you the picks and all that stuff, but now we got 2 locks. We went 2-0 last week. We're looking for another 2-0 week this week.
I'm going Ludovic Klein versus Mateusz Rambecki over 2.5 at minus 138. Like Derek said before, man, overs hitting left and right. And I like this one at over because we have 2 very technical fighters going toe to toe. Klein, he's a little bit more clean, a little bit more technical, where Rambecki, he's willing to and has a tendency to get in the brawl. But as we've seen, when the competition level rises, both of these fighters end up going more towards decisions, right? So even if we don't see a decision right here, folks, I'm expecting a longer fight. Both fighters are dangerous puzzles to solve on their own, but combined, I think this one's definitely going to hit the over. Make sure you tune in. Derek, what do you think? What you got?
Bro, first off, banger fight. I actually forgot to mention this in the intro, but I was going to say we have a banger of a banger fight right here. Not the sleeper, but you got another one on top of it. But everybody knows these 2 guys right here. Ludovic Klein, massively underrated always. Rambecki is just a walking violence symbol, if you will. I say have some fun and tune into this one. And both coming off of losses, someone has something to prove. I'm not going to even spend too much time here because I already told you guys that I had something here for you. Women's strawweight bout. Vina Jandiroba, Mackenzie Dern. The easiest layup that you could take is this fight to go the distance. I had it tracking at plus 110 for the fight to go the distance. Currently, minus 110. All right, so it's creeping, folks. You got to get in immediately. When I saw that, I placed immediately. You have to get in even at minus 110. I think it's super fair right here. But my stats are pretty simplistic. Dern won the first fight by a decision. Yes, it was only 3 rounds, but whatever. Jandiroba's never been finished. All 3 losses by decision. Dern, 4 of 5 have been by decision. She got TKO'd once, and that was standing. And it's a grappling offset, man. Lots of control time going to be incoming. Lots of guard play. Lots of fun stuff right here. But realistically, AJ, in a fight with 2 specialists right here, where the grappling will offset any other women's MMA bout, especially strawweight, for the fight to go the distance would be minus 400, minus 450. You're getting at minus 110 right here, and you don't have to worry about a victor. I think that's money in the bank right here. That is my best bet. And if that does not cash, I will be more than surprised. I don't even know what to tell you guys, but that's the best bet. And let me go ahead and put it on the screen. Vina Jandiroba, Mackenzie Dern, fight to go the distance right there. What do you think, AJ? How confidence level? My confidence level is at like a 9.8 right here.
Yeah, through the roof, Derek. Stamp it, send it. Make sure you place your bets, folks, because like we showed you, that line is going to change. Even if you can get it like minus 150, absolutely smash that all day long.
This is our story of the week, and that's a familiar face that you guys see right there. Jalen Turner, the Tarantula, UFC comeback. Who would have thought it? You retire and then you come back. He's announced against a violent lightweight staple. Sounds scary. Not as violent as they would lead you to believe. It's actually Edson Barbosa. That's what they're bringing him up against. I didn't really necessarily need to bring up this page and this graphic, but I had to bring up this story. And the reason why, AJ, it's pretty simple right here. Jalen Turner, who retired after a 2-fight losing streak, won against Renato Moicano, where he had the man dead to rights, but was scarred from the Bobby King Green fight. Didn't want to punch his lights out too bad. Ended up giving up the fight. Then you get triangled against Bahamondes in a fight where he looked very uncharacteristic. And if you remember properly, AJ, if I remember properly, I bet on Turner. I think you picked Bahamondes on that one, and Bahamondes squeaked it out. But I knew something was wrong when I saw that performance. He retires. It all makes sense. If you lost the fire then, my question to you is what makes the fire come back now? He's 30 years old and he retired in March. It's been 6 months since then. What's changed?
Sometimes you got big feelings. Sometimes you make a rash decision, especially when you just got choked out in front of everybody in your underwear. So I give him a little bit of grace, Derick. There was a lot going on, and I agree. It was a very uncharacteristic performance from Jalen Turner. 30 years old, man. This kid has a lot to offer, a lot of skills. He really does. What brings the fire back? I think that's more of a personal question for Jalen Turner, because he needs to have that fire. Because if you're coming back and you get knocked out by Edson Barbosa, man, you're in a deep, deep spiral. So I'm pushing for the kid. I'm hoping he's going to be doing well, hoping he's got something that internally has given him some of that purpose. We see all the motivational, posts and everything. It's like, what's your why? Hopefully Jalen Turner has found that, because other than that, Derick, I mean, he is a very violent fighter he's going up against. Maybe not as violent as he used to be, but still very dangerous. Nothing worse than Edson Barbosa head kick.
Yeah, and we love Jalen Turner, right? Shout out to him, big fans. But I'm really more talking about just the overall, how often you see these dudes retire, unretire. And I think that it's more complicated than just a why. Like, it would be odd. It'd be like a movie if it was just like, I need to find my why. I found my inner fire. Yeah, I'm ready to bring violence. I don't think that's it. I think it's been 6 months, right? I got to get a real job. Oh, bro. How about we do this fighting thing again? I could chill. I could live kind of life on my terms. Obviously, you have to be disciplined, be an athlete, training, and all that stuff. But I think when people are faced with the reality, especially post-fight career, right, where it's like, all right, well, what do I do now? I've known one thing my entire life, more or less, right? And it's this. I don't know how to do anything else. I don't know how to be a normal member of society, if you will. And I mean that in the most respectful way. It's just because these are odd cats. You got to be an odd dude to go in your underwear and fist fight a dude in front of thousands of people. So I'm hoping that's not the case, but more often than not in this sport, brother, you know what I mean? Bills are due. How are you going to pay it? Let me go get in a fist fight real quick. Look at Frankie Edgar. So willing, who knows what his financial circumstance is, but so willing to do what needs to be done. He says, I'm a 40-year-old. I'm going to take a bare knuckle fight. Never in my life have I done it before on a professional level for bare knuckle, right? I'm going to go and do that. I got a wife. I got kids. You got all that. And they pulled him out because they felt bad. The doctor's like, nah, brother. You know what I mean? More to come on that story. But anyway, that's my big rant on this one, man. I think financials come down to it. And I'm curious to know your opinion as we wrap this one up right here. Do you think, what if there was like a rule implemented in the UFC or whatever that was like, if you retire, there is no unretirement option right here? Like, once you retire, you are out the door, you're out the pool, it's a wrap. Do you think that is something that should be implemented to kind of incentivize these people, like, stop doing this shit?
Yeah, I think so, Derick. I mean, because anytime you hear a UFC fighter retire, we know they're coming back in 6 months to a year. Like they're not even treated as actual legitimate retirements anymore until it's that big one, right? That final one that we really know. Like, all right, you said you quit 3 times already. You're 42 years old. Okay, now you're hanging them up. Yes, finally. I definitely think there should be something to it. At least like hey, let me put like a pause, right? Like, let me do something. I don't want to fight in 3 months again, right? Let me get a pause, Uncle Dane. Let me do something like that. There should be some sort of contingencies, because it really does affect nothing when people just say they quit and then they're back again. Really, it does just makes us more antagonistic.
Look at how Jose Aldo, you know what I mean? How it's like nobody cared anymore. You went to Rio and then you retired again for like the freaking 3rd time or whatever. Like, we didn't care anymore. Obviously it was the right place and it should have been there from the jump. But retire, nah, I'm back. Nah, I quit again. Actually, I retired. I hang my gloves up or whatever. But they're gonna let me go to Rio, so I'm gonna re-retire. It's just like we don't care anymore, and I think that loses. Like, if LeBron James retires, it's a wrap. He can't be like, all right, I've been out for 2 years, I'm back. Michael Jordan did it, but nobody else could do that. You know what I mean? Oh, that's all I got to say. No need to beat a dead horse any further. All right, folks, that was your UFC 321 program right there. We got a fun one in Abu Dhabi. It is an early morning card, so definitely check your time zone, see what time you got to get loaded up for. But we're ready to make you some money. Don't forget, this is your favorite fighter's favorite fight show. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Until next time. Peace.